things as simple as pads to use for this normal biological process. During this pandemic, many girls who do not have access to these facilities are stranded, but more so worse for those who are living with disabilities. Joining me in the studio is my guest, who is from an organization that focuses on some of the plights of persons living with disabilities. They are a non-profit and have been working with women, girls, youth, and persons living with disabilities. We're going to be looking at the issues. What are the problems they are confronted with? What are the myths? How is discrimination affecting persons living with disabilities, especially during a pandemic like this? And what is the way forward? My guest is Executive Director for Hope for Future Generations, the non-profit I was talking about. She's also a board member for the National Population Council. I'm talking about Cecilia Senu. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you in our studios, as always.
Yeah.
The last time, was it last year or this year?
It was last year.
Exactly, it was last year. Great to have you back in the studios.
Thank you.
For people who are wondering why we are talking about menstruation on air, in our society, it is viewed that these are issues you talk about to your girl child in a quiet place, not on TV. Yes. Why are we talking about this on TV? Could you help them with that?
Yeah, it has become very necessary that we break the silence on menstruation, because this is a natural phenomenon. Every girl passes through it, and we are making this noise because of the challenges that they face. The little things that they have to do to live very comfortable with their menstruation and also go into adulthood. I think the challenges are so many. It's a multifaceted, different levels, and so we need to really make the noise and also talk and see how we can advocate for the country to put it among its priority list to take care of these girls who are suffering and going through a lot during their menstruation. It's natural. You cannot stop it. And worse, when we talk about disability, this is even worse, because we don't really have a policy that is only taking care of these people. Something is people are doing bit of it, advocates, but we are really looking at how do we take and embrace this as a country to focus on it, because it's not easy. It's very difficult.
For people who may not understand the scope or how important this is something that every girl goes through or every woman goes through until a certain year when they reach their menopause. But even access to pads, people would ask, is it that much of a problem?
Yes, it is. You know, in our work in communities, if you listen to some of them, you weep. You want to give out the last pesewa in your purse to give to these girls, especially girls from very underserved family, poor families, where they cannot afford their square meals and yet going to buy pads. The work that we have been doing over the years really made us to commit so much to addressing some of these issues, because they go for paper. Some of them use graphic. Any paper they lay hands off, they use racks. Some of them, there's so much myth and misconception surrounding menstruation, and so they don't want to talk about it, and yet the thing is flowing. What do you do? So it is a challenge, and it is very difficult, because to go into you and I had people who gave us, and yet we are very comfortable. For them, where their parents even didn't understand. So where will you get 5 CDs from if we are looking for 1 CD to even buy KNK a day? And so that is why we have to see how best the government and the policies that we have can be relooked at to address some of these challenges.
When it comes to menstruation, the thought about even the education that goes to the girl child alone becomes a point of concern. Many girls are thrown into menstruation without knowing anything about it. But they have been birthed by women. Shouldn't they easily take their daughters to the process?
That is if the mother herself really understands that this is what it is, because her mother didn't tell her, and so she just entered like that, and so it perpetuates. And so that is why we have to start talking about it and doing basic education on menstrual hygiene for parents, engage their siblings, everybody talking. I mean, the media is very powerful when it comes to this. And I'm happy that your platform, Women's Voice, is really doing this advocacy. And everybody listening to it. I know a number of people are listening, because a lot of women and even men are listening to it because it's very educative and it's very powerful platform. And so we have to come together, not only one person, all of us have to come together and talk about this issue that is a big problem in our country.
How do we move it from being a taboo subject to something that we can talk about freely? We are doing this here.
Yes.
But the thing is, how many platforms are able to talk about menstruation, even mention period freely in public?
Yes.
Let me bring in board member for your organization in the person of Nancy and Sam. Nancy, if Nancy is on the line, and I'm sure she is by now, Nancy, thank you very much for joining us online. We would have loved to have you join us via Zoom. However, we have managed to get you online. As far as we've managed to get you online, we are fine with that. Nancy, we have just been talking about menstruation and its issues, the issues around it that we do not see as a society as a problem, but the enormity of the problem continues to affect girls who are underprivileged and vulnerable. Nancy, we're talking about trying to ensure that this is no longer a taboo subject, that we are actually addressing the issues directly, that our girls can get some education. Nancy, if you are hearing me, what are your thoughts on how we can break this from being a taboo subject to being able to talk freely about menstruation and educating our girls?
Thank you very much. I think the efforts and the solution to this challenge you have raised, it's like the platform that we have started now.
Right.
So this is a good effort in demystifying the issues around menstruation. It's also important that we use this to encourage parents, guardians, and all other well-meaning Ghanaians, especially those who have girls menstruation age, to discuss issues of menstruation with them, especially when a girl sees her menstruation for the first time. It's important that what it means and how to stay healthy and all the issues concerning it with this reproductive health issues should be discussed with the child. And it is also important that parents ensure that they make sanitary supplies available to their children. I hope through discussions, through sharing and making supplies available, we will begin to work on the issue of discussing menstruation so that we move it from being a taboo, an issue that can be brought forward, and to ensure that our young women or our girls also, are having education. Menstruation is about health, and for our girls, especially our teenage girls, our young women, it's also about access to education. It's also about their social life. But as we found out that when the girls are in their menstrual period and they do not have sanitary pads, what happens is that they tend to stay away from school. They tend to remain home usually until their menses are over. So it is an issue that can affect the education of the girl child. It also can affect the health of the girl child, that she may be tempted to look for any material around her to use as pads. So parents should begin to open up. Issues of menstrual hygiene, issues of reproductive health for our girls should be discussed in our homes. And our schools, I think our teachers also may have a role to play to ensure that they are available to answer some pertinent questions that our girls may be raising, to ensure that they have the needed information to take good care of themselves. Thank you.
Right. So we are in a pandemic, Nancy, and we are talking about availability to some of these things. Many families have been hard hit. Now they are under-resourced. And now we are talking about persons who are living with disabilities. How do we then, what kind of strategy and approach will help persons living with disabilities be able to observe the correct menstrual hygiene?
Thank you very much for your question. I think it's one of the reasons why we are in the studio today, we are here today, as we talk about our 20th anniversary launch. And this has been, this is one of the major projects that we are rolling out in such a pandemic period, or such pandemic period. Many people are usually home or are not moving about freely. And especially for our people, persons living with disability, we know that they may already have restricted movement. So hope for future generations sat down and then plan, strategize.
Right.
That during such time, it's important that we bring a focus on menstrual hygiene for our girls and our women in their reproductive age. So this project, as we have launched, we like to call on all well-meaning Ghanaians, companies, other NGOs, everybody, our market, women and men, everybody to come on board to donate a part, so that we can reach out to our girls and our women who need it most.
Right, Nancy, let me take your final one on this one before we go. There are homes, parents who are currently struggling to make ends meet, and they have to support their children who are living with disabilities. The learning facilities that would have enabled them to be able to keep these children there for the right instruction is not available. These mothers, these parents, guardians are struggling with their children living with disabilities. Any ideas as to how to manage this? Any word of encouragement in these times?
If I heard you right, you are asking for any idea that we can share with mothers, especially of children living with disability or our young women living with disability.
Yes.
For them to be able to take care of their girls well.
Yes.
The first thing I would like to say is that these are our children. And though they may have a form of disability, we know that it is not inability. So we must also ensure that we are giving them the needed attention, especially in their menstrual hygiene. We would like to encourage parents to prioritize menstrual hygiene and see it also as very essential or as essential for the well-being of their children. And therefore, when there is a priority of things that should be bought or purchased for their family, parts should also be considered. And then, because we know that there are people who are in great need, and that even getting subsidies for their daughters for parts is not easy. As we know that Ghanaians have a very good heart and they are always sharing with their neighbors, we would like to call upon all Ghanaians that it shouldn't only be about your daughter alone. But even as we are launching this for every girl everywhere, we will all come on board, donate some parts so that we will take them to our girls who need the most. Thank you.
Thank you too very much, Nancy, for joining us, and we would have loved to, like I said, have you on Zoom. However, this is equally just as good. We are grateful for your time. Nancy Ansah is board member for Hope for Future Generations, and she captures it beautifully. before Nancy joined us, we're talking about the education, what parents must do. Your take on that before we move on to the next thing?
Yes, as Nancy rightly said, one, the parents must know that the children belong to them. And so the needs of these children must be really addressed in any way that they can afford it. And so one, before the child gets into puberty to start menstruating, the mother, the father, the siblings must start educating the child. Basic education on how to take care of yourself, how to manage the items that you need, the part, how to remove it, how to replace it, how to clean yourself. Everything must start from the time that before the child gets to that period. And secondly, I think the children also spend a lot of time in schools. And I know the school health program has been doing those basic education for them. But it's important that it's part of the curriculum and it is really used to educate them, because little mistake can affect the child's adulthood, prevent her from going to school. I saw a child suddenly started bleeding and the child started running. You know, there's so much happening in society that in the villages you'll be surprised to see what is happening to young girls.
Running.
Because she thought it was a sore. You know,
she knew nothing about.
Very innocent child, a girl, I think a girl of about 13, 15 years. And so such a girl was not educated. And all of her, so she woke up one day, dressed to school, and then she saw blood started coming. And so there's a lot that we have to do.
It means that there's a gap somewhere. We need to prepare our girls better.
Exactly. You don't need to, period. You don't need to wait for the girl to start menstruating. We need to start it. It should be, the education should start.
What was the age appropriateness though?
I think some of them, with our development now, some of them start menstruating as early as 11, 12 years. And so I think that from 9 years, this child should start basic education on personal hygiene, and then you bring all this, how to when you poo-poo, how to take care of yourself, when you wee-wee, I mean, those basic educations should be part of what we should be teaching our children. And that is why the parents, the mothers, must really be educated to be able to translate this to their their daughters.
Right. Even with that education, there are so many myths around menstruation that tends to affect girls and even persons living with disability.
Exactly.
They even struggle the more because, for instance, I have been witness to a story of a girl who has a disability and was going through her period, and mom was not around, and the caretaker was at their wits' end because this girl didn't know what was going on and all of that. So it's not that she didn't even have the education, but she couldn't imbibe the education because she's living with a disability.
Yeah. And so it's so sad when you, I mean, even normal girls, it's not easy. How much a girl with disability who might not even have physical disability, maybe the hand, to tell, if you look at some of the disability, the hand moves. And so it is something we must look at as a country. You know, the reason is that disability is already a problem. There's so much myth and misconception. There's so much stigma. So a girl with disability menstruating, like you rightly said, someone needs to do it. Either the mother, the father, or whoever. If you are lucky and you have a caregiver that your parents are paying, fine. Otherwise, you see this girl, especially not able to walk, blood flowing, and all those things, which can affect her, the hygienic way of doing things. And I think persons with disabilities suffer most. They suffer most. One, the parents are already struggling with the disability. In addition to this is just one of the problems that they go through. There are so many things that, and you see that parents with children or adolescents with disability are always stressed because you need resources. You need to be free psychologically to take care of them. Societal stigma around you and your child. And so if you are lucky, the father of the child will support you. If you are lucky with disability, the father will desert you. So there's so much that people are going through, women are going through, girls are going through, that we must start looking at it as society.
Your organization has been doing its bits,
Yeah.
and Nancy kept talking about the project.
Yeah.
So I want to know what Hope for Future Generations is coming up with to help not just girls but persons with disability, especially around this time.
Yes. So as we are planning towards our 20 years anniversary, which will be launching in August, we really developing a project that is looking at every girl everywhere, and it is looking at feminine hygiene, providing pad. Our plan is to provide 3 million pads to
3 million pads.
3 million pads, because girls use 2 pads a month. 2 pads a month, and a pad is 5 cedis. And so if every month a girl needs about 10 cedis to buy a pad, how do we get it for them? And so we are rolling out this project, which is part of our anniversary, to partner everybody who is interested. If every month you can give 10 cedis to a girl for her menstruation, I think you have done a lot. And so we are rolling it out, and we want everybody, institutions, benevolent society, everybody to come on board. We want to partner everybody in Ghana to roll out this in all the 16 regions, and we will start not only in schools, but we are also looking out of school. If you listen to some of the stories, little petty stealing to buy pad is so sad. The girl will tell you, I'm not a thief, but I need it to protect myself. And so I took 5 cedis to buy pad, and my mother locked me in a room for days because I've taken 5 cedis. You know, this is what they go through.
But is that parents not aware that the girl needs the pad?
It's a caregiver. I mean, the mother is, so she stays. So if I'm struggling to feed you, why do you steal my money to buy pad? And so we are also looking at partnership with reusable pad. There's so much happening in different countries. How can we partner institutions to reach out to girls in this country? We are looking at 3 million pads, and we are looking at about 1.5 million girls reaching out to this, and we are looking at this program for 1 year and beyond.
Okay.
Yes,
This will be rolled out for a period of a year.
Exactly, or even beyond.
And beyond.
Yes, that because we've been doing it in bits, we've been partnering companies, but now we want to really do it more to reach all the 16. Maybe the government will even come on board. We want to see which people we can partner to achieve our objective as we celebrate our 20 years anniversary.
Do you think that, I mean, in this education and interaction with people within the communities in the rural areas, I know you've done a lot of engagement. Do you think that we have downplayed this whole menstruation thing? Because if parents are not doing the right education, if society is stigmatizing you, churches and the rest, and especially during this pandemic, when there was a shortage of tissue paper, a toilet roll, that was the conversation. Nobody raised the issue of the possible shortage of sanitary pads.
I think that in fact, the whole pandemic has really caused a lot of trouble, and the people who suffer most are young people. Adults, yes, but at least you can go and beg somewhere. But a young girl going to look for, I mean, it's a big problem. And this pandemic has taught us a lot of lessons that we must really look at it as a country. Our population, we have different segments of people in the population. We must not just assume that everybody is fine. When you are not infected, everything is fine. This continues. We all know that the pandemic is not leaving next month or next 2 months. And so the important thing is to start planning for these young people in society, and make sure that their needs are met. Basic needs, not very expensive, but basic needs are met. Social service interventions, Ministry of Gender, all of them, we need to come together, because sanitary pad, if you really know what people are going through because of pad, girls, if you listen, with so many, and it is difficult for people to accept that a society like this, as a country where we are, a middle low income, people are still struggling to do that. You know, India and Co are using low-cost material to prepare it. And I know there are a lot of innovations coming up. We must start looking at how do we use our domestic resources, our domestic materials to produce basic, reusable pad for these girls. This is what we are looking at, so that the girl herself will know that maybe 25th of every month my menses starts. Before that time, I have to prepare my own pad and wash it and use. I mean, those are basic things. Apart from looking for resources, we are looking at those partnerships also, so that we can roll it in all the regions that we want to implement this project.
You talk about some of the issues that we do not know that girls are facing. Can we highlight them?
Yes, I talked about how, look at the, let's say a school. I always give example of Kanda cluster of schools, which is just near GTV. We happen to partner NCCE in hygiene education in that school. Right. And we got to know that that school has no toilets. Well, I think they had
no washroom.
No washroom. And so the girls, everybody has to do something behind the building. And then I think one of the clusters have one, but they lock it all the time.
Why?
They said no, there's so much. I think someone needs to visit a Kanda cluster of schools to really know what is happening there. Right. And so you see these guys squatting in Accra, squatting around gutters, and at times they told us that they used to fall into a gutter if you are not careful and you slip. We saw a big manhole behind, and so they will do it into them. So many things happening. How can a girl in her uniform raise and do such a thing? Because of that, many of them run home and they are not stable in school. I think there's so much problems. There are so many schools that you don't have girls-friendly toilet or washrooms. And so, you know, you need water to take care of yourself. And so you realize that there are so many challenges that we need to really start looking at as a country. Because if we don't talk about it, if we don't provide in time of difficulty, then this girl fall victim. A man can say, oh, I'll provide you all this. The next thing is you are impregnated, because nobody will be doing this for free. And this is where we have to start looking at things as a country. How do we empower our girls to stay strong and healthy, to become future leaders for us and develop this country?
So the structural problems or barriers are there. The facility is not there. And I'm just imagining not having a washroom in your school and having to change. And then I'm imagining also having one that doesn't have a door, or having one without water.
And so what will happen? You enter and anybody can walk on you. You know, and even the stigma alone among the school children. Because I remember when I was even young, the moment you make mistake and you soil your dress, the whole school will know that something is happening, and then either you are isolated, they look at you, they point fingers at you because you are menstruating. Something naturally that has to happen for you to enter adulthood. And so the stigma, the fear, and a lot of things. So because of that, if I'm menstruating, let me stay home for the next 1 week until my flow stops before I come. And so that is what is happening. Parents are ignorant. In churches, there are some churches, I heard that if you are menstruating, you don't get near a certain part of the church. There are some traditional homes where you are menstruating, you don't cook, you don't come home. You have to stay outside the house until your menstruation stops. Is it a crime to menstruate? It is the menstruation that helped me to bring life back to the society. And if I'm going through this natural phenomenon, I still have to be punished, go through all this, then what is happening to us as women?
Indeed, the process of life starts with menstruation.
Of course. Otherwise, there will not be any pregnancy.
We'll come to preparing children who are living with disabilities for their menstruation right after this break. This is Women's Voice. Today on the program, we are looking at menstrual hygiene for persons living with disabilities. My guest in the studio is Executive Director for Hope for Future Generations Ghana, an NGO and non-profit. She's Mrs. Cecilia Singh. We're taking a break. When we return, we'll take your messages. The number is 0245 70116. Stay with us. today on the program, we are looking at menstrual hygiene for persons living with disability. My guest in the studio is Executive Director for Hope for Future Generations Ghana in the person of Cecilia Senu. I was talking about preparing girls who are living with disability for menstruation. Yeah. In the first place, you're dealing with different categories here.
Of course.
Those with mental disabilities, those with physical. How do we go around?
Okay, so one, the parents must be taught how to, the whole thing about menstruation, or caregivers.
Right.
And they must be prepared that this is what your daughter will be going through. And the daughters themselves, whether physical or whatever it is, must be communicated to, because disability doesn't mean that their brains are also, they listen. The only thing is that if the person has visual impairment, she must know what to do when her, and even all the signs, what you go through before your menses, they have a way of doing their own thing, communicating, and so they must be taught. If it is motor disability, if it's a mental problem, which we have neglected so much, I used to visit some of the mental health, and I feel so sad that these are human. We must prepare the people themselves, we must prepare the caregivers, we must prepare the parents, and even their siblings, to know the process of menstruation, the hygiene, and how every month the signs that you see that your menses is coming and how you have to prepare. I think the major problem is access to the menstrual hygiene materials. We start helping them, teaching them how to work, how to dispose it of, how to remove it, how to keep yourself clean, personal hygiene. These little things they must know. Parents must be taught that this is what will happen until your child gets to adulthood to marry. I think with that, everybody around must be part of it.
So for those who cannot themselves, those women and girls who cannot themselves, what will be the extra thing to be done?
That is why you see caregivers really going through that. You need a whole heart and a whole dedication to support such people. And I'm saying that definitely the person, whether you cannot or is the person is born by a human being or mother or a father, a siblings, we must start looking at how do we get everybody involved in taking care of such people in society. You know, Ghanaians, we have very kind hearts in caring for our own people. And so in the society, we must identify such people. A lot of religious bodies commit to such things. My religion is a Catholic, and I know in the Catholic Church, we have different societies that take care of such people, St. Vincent de Paul, Christian Mothers, Catholic Women Association, and I believe all the churches also have such things. And so it is this that we have to draw people's attention. That is why I say that everybody needs to come on board to care for such people, such as this disability, and these are disadvantaged people in society.
We'll open the phone lines now. The number is 0260-969-160. You can send in you can call us and then let us know what your thoughts are. Especially if you have a peculiar situation you also like to share, you can do that. As we discuss these issues, we talk about resource, we talk about facilities, we talk about people to come and support the cause. You have tried to engage a few persons. Do you think this is something that people are encouraged to support? The feedback, how's the feedback like?
I think there are people who are ready to do that, but you need to really constantly remind them. Few people have that heart, especially when you hear that your daughter is using graphic or any newspaper or anything to prevent a blood flow. I think there are societies, there are people who are ready, and we need to reach out to them. People are not aware of such a thing that people are going through. I remember I discussed menstrual hygiene on one of the TV stations, and immediately after that, old school, when somebody called me that I'm going to advocate for everybody on my old school platform to donate a box of sanitary pad every month. And so I think, you think that is very expensive. No, but 10 cedis a month, you take care of a girl's menstruation in a month, I think it's a blessing. It's something that you have to do. So I know people are ready to support. We need to call on them. We need to reach out to persons with disability. We need to reach out to people who don't have it at all in society, especially girls. When you see your girl child going through this, just imagine that your daughter will go through this. You'll be willing to support a disadvantaged daughter or girl with the little that we have. Ghanaians give a lot, and I think it's important that we start looking at that.
Right, there's a caller on the line. Hello, good afternoon. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and let's hear what you have to say about the subject.
Yeah, hello. I'm Hamdallah. I'm calling from the Makam.
Right, Hamdallah, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I just want to thank you very much for bringing this topic up. And I want to ask, what they are doing, as you mentioned about partnership, what are they doing in collaboration with the schools? I say this because we have a girl child education committees, and this is one of the topics that we always treat whenever we meet, especially at worship hours and other days when we are educating them. And you can see that we educate them, but most of the times we lack the resources, as in the pads and then the panties, and sometimes we need to supply them these things after we've educated them. So I want to know, as you mentioned the partnership, what are they doing and when it comes to teachers?
Right.
Especially that are doing, they are helping out in the girl child aspect.
Okay, thank you very much, Hamdallah, for that. So you heard the comment.
Yes, Hope for Future Generation Partners, Ghana Education Service, especially the girl child unit. Anytime we are implementing this, we do it with them. If you see most of our pictures, we even had training. We are part of the national platform for menstrual hygiene set up by Ghana Education Service. The issue is that you need to build partnerships in different ways. Some will give you ideas, some will give you materials, some will give you money. Because we are also a local NGO, we are trying to partner people who can support this. Ghana Education Service is one of the key partners that we do this with across the regions that our offices are. In Greater Accra, we partner most of them also. But as we roll out this one-year project, we need to see how we can come together, use the existing structures in the schools, in the communities to implement this project. If the donations that we are planning to be doing will be done with them, we plan to reach out to selected schools in the regions where our offices are, because our regional offices will be doing resource mobilizations in the regions. And then the little that we have will be added to it. So our plan is that every month, starting from July, we'll start donating sanitary pads to schools and out of schools. And we are now mapping out the schools, and we are doing that with Ghana Education Service.
Right. Let's talk about the sociocultural barriers. So there are communities where there are cultures that are entrenched, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
How do we go over those barriers?
Yes. So thank you. We need to partner the community, the queen mothers and the traditional leaders. For us as an organization, one of the structures we do a lot of work with is queen mothers, because we are women focused, and where possible we also use the chiefs. I think these are people, the custodians of our culture, and if you want to break those things, they are the right people that you can really partner, and we have achieved a lot partnering them. So the first thing is to partner the traditional leaders. They should look at the harmful practices that doesn't empower women, that prevent them of doing what they do, and they are ready. The queen mothers are
willing to abandon those practices.
I think you'll be surprised that women are very powerful.
Right.
I mean, when you want to make a change, it's always good to start it with the women, and then they gradually get. It takes time, but at the end you achieve it. And so we need to start from somewhere instead of thinking that it will not work. And that is what, if I tell you certain things that we did with queen mothers across the regions, and we've been able to change things, you will be surprised. I mean, many of them really didn't know that these things can easily be changed. And so as you give them education, you discuss the benefits, they quickly buy into it, and they want to do that. And so many of them are waiting, always want to partner you to make changes in the society and some of the harmful traditional practices. So it is possible.
It is possible.
Yeah.
For those who would want to join or partner this course, you're talking about 1 year.
Yes.
giving education and giving pads for girls everywhere.
Yes.
Girls everywhere. You're talking about 3 million, reaching out to 3 million girls at least.
Yeah.
What will be the mode of partnership? How do they get in touch with your organization?
Okay, so we have our, we are on social media.
Right.
Our social media handle is there for WhatsApp. We are on LinkedIn. Our website is there. Our Facebook address is there.
Okay.
So they can get in touch. Our office numbers are there. I can share the office number. They can call the office line anytime. We really want to see how we can do this together as a country. And also, they can just call our office number on
so it's Hope for Future Generations.
Yes, on
social media. So on Facebook is Hope for Future Generations.
No, it's HFFG. HFFG 2001.
HFFG
2001 on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Our website is www.hffg.org.
Okay.
I think our WhatsApp is also HFFG too. I think Kofi can share that with us. And then our landline in the office is 030 397 1433.
1433.
Yes.
030 397 1433.
Yes, they can get us, and we also have another one, 030 397 1435.
1435.
And so they can get us on all these lines and then discuss partnership. We will accept any partnership.
Right. There's
them.
a call on the line, and that will be our final one. Hello, tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your submission, please.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Please, my name is Esther. I'm calling from Turkey.
Esther, go ahead.
Okay, I think it's the passion, first thing. Secondly, I want the age, because I had a girl. So I want the age, if it's getting to the age that I will start guide the girl.
Okay, Esther, I understand you, I get you. So Esther wants the appropriate age for educating her girl child. What age? That's what she was asking. She wants the age that she start giving her child that education on menstruation.
Okay, so as soon as the girl knows her private, starts having ideas of her private parts, I would say that from age 9 to 10, because some of the girls start menstruating at 10 years. Yes, so as soon as the girl, even when the girl gets to class 1, class 2, and the girl can differentiate certain things, you start communicating basic things to the girl child. It depends on how fast the girl is, and they will start asking you funny questions. Immediately you must know that it's time to start educating the child on these issues.
So when the child starts asking questions about their body,
their part, what happened with my body, what is this, those kind of, you immediately start. And that is where you must let the child know what will happen on the body. At times they themselves will draw it. There's so many reading materials that you can even get to support them as you communicate. And so you must really make sure that the child is so friendly, understand your basic language, and then you build upon it. You don't need to wait till the child enters puberty. Yeah.
So you start the education early.
Yes.
What will be your final message as we let go of you? Before that, let me just mention that the platforms for Facebook is HFFG 2001 on Facebook, and it's also, the website is www.hffg.org. Org is O-R-G, right?
Yes, yes.
The numbers to call if you want to support the cause is 0303 971 433 or 0303 971 435. Your final comments.
Yes, so I just want to call all, meaning everybody, Ghanaians everywhere, to support the future of our daughters, our sisters, especially those with disability, with menstrual hygiene. And that is what we say, every girl everywhere must be supported. be part of this because it is a program that is really giving future to people, and we want to partner even the media to see how we can reach out to everybody. If your girl child, if our daughters, our girls are well empowered, I think we have very good future for this country. And so we must really look at it and implement policies that will be sustainable and then make them feel happy. It is a right, we must not leave them behind, especially when we talk of the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals, leave no one behind.
Right. In terms of policy, before you go, can you expand on what specific policies would support the cause?
Yes, we have policies for adolescents, and we also have disability policies. It is a right. Disability is not just this person must be good, must be given certain things. They have the right to social issues. Everything that we do as able people, they also have it. I know there is a board for disability. The board must be well resourced to implement those policies. We must put in resources for persons with disability. There are some of them, civil society organizations, religious bodies, donors are supporting. But to ensure that our country own it, we must ensure that we have a policy with domestic resources that will be sustainable to support these disadvantaged people in society.
Thank you so much, Cecilia, for joining us on the platform. Cecilia is Executive Director for Hope for Future Generations Ghana, HFFG. Their website is www.hffg.org if you want to support their campaign for pads for girls everywhere. Trying to reach 3 million girls within a year and hopefully more. Thank you so much for watching and for joining us. We've been looking at menstrual hygiene for persons living with disabilities. We hope that you continue the conversation and support the cause. My name is Telike Makola Chapalu. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to all of you who sent in your messages and called into the program as well as our team here at GBC News. Thank you to Barbara De La Mensa and of course John Amemo, who also helped with the production, and the entire production team. You have a good afternoon. Hello, many thanks for joining us. This is Women's Voice. You're welcome to the show.
We've made the people psychologically.
They called me a prostitute and whatever.
So it's devilish, it's evil. And you have been made to believe that the power of God is in water and oil every blessed day.
Why don't you have a voice?
Pregnant women are